Have you ever wondered why you behave or react the way you do? Like everyone else, I'm a product of my own experiences. And to better understand how those experiences shape the mind and behavior, I dove into research on brain plasticity and psychology. So today I'm going to share this information with you because I don't think it's only academic theory, it's the story of everyone in this classroom. We are all a product of our own experiences. And by understanding this, we can become more empathetic not only to others but to ourselves once that we realize that our behavior is a result of what we've been through. So today we are going to explore how experiences shapes the mind by how they condition us, how our brains adapt to those conditions, and how those adaptations create new thoughts and behavior. So as I just mentioned, the first step on this process is the conditioning of the brain. So the first step is the brain ability to change is called neuroplasticity. Experts at the Cleveland Clinic describe this by asking you to think of your brain as a piece of clay. When you have a new experience, it's like pressing your thumb into the clay. It physically changes the shape. Also, this shaping process starts when we are young. Researchers at Harvard University Center on the Developing Child call a key experience the return and serve interaction between a child and their caregiver. It's like a game of catch, but with attention and emotions. And this communication um, puts a strong foundation on the brain. Then we have positive and negative experiences. Just as experiences build up the brain, negative experiences can also condition it. Research from Kaiser Permanente on adverse childhood experiences found that these events can create toxic stress, that is the stress alarm on the body, and can get stuck on the on mode, making us feeling on edge and damaging our brain connections. So we've seen that how experiences from childhood to life major events can press into the clay of our brain. So how this looks inside the brain. So how the mind adapts to these new conditions. First, the brain can physically change and build new pathways or connections. When you learn something new, you create new links between your brain cells, also called neurons, to store that information. Then the brain can also rewire itself, especially when it's damaged. If one part of the brain is damaged, like moving a finger, can sometimes may other part of the brain can take that job. It's like a brain creating a detour to avoid traffic. And then when you practice a new skill, like playing the guitar, the brain makes that pathway more efficient. An article from Central Connecticut State University explained how this happens. The brain adds a fatty acid called myelin around the wires of the brain. So this makes the pathway stronger and the signal travels more faster. That makes the skill become more automatic. So how these adaptations shape our behavior. We know that our brains adapt building new pathways, rewiring itself after damage, or even making our wires become more efficient. So, how this looks in real life, we have the negative outcomes, the positive outcomes, and the learning outcomes. So, according to the US National Institutes of Health, in post traumatic stress disorder, also called PTSD, a traumatic experience can cause adaptations to change behavior. This makes the brain control center make more less active, and the fear center become overactive. This physical change can make us feel on edge or on the flight or fight position. And then the positive outcome, the brain can adapt to build resilience. The American Psychological Associations define resilience as the process and outcome of successfully adapting to a life-changing experience. This is an active process where positive experiences and coping strategies strengthen the control center, and this takes more influence on our brain than the emotional center, making us be more calm under pressure scenarios. Then we have the learning outcome. The adaptations from practicing a skill, like we talk in our second main point, directly change behavior. First, our skill feels clumsy, and we have to think every step of it. But every time that we practice this, our brain pathways become faster, and our skill becomes smooth, coordinated, and automatic. So now that we've seen how these typical brain changes create our everyday behaviors, let's take a final step and review what we talk about. So first, we learn that our minds are conditioned by our experiences. The brain isn't fixed, but it's more like a clay. Experiences especially as children, can shape it. So second, we explore how the brain adapts or Second, we explore how our brain adapts. We saw physically changes like new pathways, rewiring itself when something's damaged, or even making the signals become more stronger by putting myelin around its wires. And finally, we connect those brain changes to realizing how this can become like PTSD or resilience or making a skill feel more smooth and coordinated and automatic. So I started this speech by asking you a simple question. Have you ever wondered why you react and behave the way you do? I hope now you see that the answer is in the structure of our brains that is shaped by every experience that you ever lived. And by understanding this, I hope you become more empathetic with yourself most than anything, and obviously to others. Uh, our life is shaped in different manners, and we are a unique journey. And don't be sad. Our brains are still changing. Don't think that you are going to stay like that. We are still a work in progress. Thank you so much. I hope you really appreciate this information.